unique combination of the values. It's like we hold each other to these ridiculously high expectations. Like everybody wants so much out of everybody else. So like we're constantly like thinking everybody should be pushing the boundaries and owning it and doing all these great things. And like, and I'm not afraid to tell somebody if they're not, because I'm able to speak up. But because we have our Be Human value, and because we have our Think Global value, and because we're all bound by delight our customers, it actually creates this very interesting performance environment that we hold each other to high expectations, but we're going to help each other to like live to those expectations. And I think that's what's special about company values, is that if they're designed correctly based on the people in the company, they create something that you can't touch, feel, or even really explain. They become something of their own.
I like that. I definitely am gonna get like 2 blog posts out of this, which is nice.
All right, I feel like I'm rambling, so.
Are there any questions that...
Do you carry blood through? How can leaders set an example of why? I think it's like, I think the biggest thing is just being really clear about like, I think the biggest way that leaders can set an example, to be honest, is when they fail, they're human about it, and that they say like, I have failed, and this is why, as it aligns to our values. I fail every single day, and I mostly fail around speak up, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like when I fail, I tie failure to our values just as much as I tie successes and things that we're doing well. And I almost feel like as leaders, if we're transparent with our people that we're not perfect, and that we do make mistakes, and that we do fail, and we talk about them in the context of our company values, it just shows the importance of how we can also be successful by living our values. I think that's the biggest way leaders can set an example for values.
I like
because
that.
then you're naturally going to strive to live them.
And then, do you have any like specific stories that come to mind, or is that something that you want to like think about and you can add them later?
Specific stories. Well, let's go through. Let me rip through.
Yeah.
So, love your job. I think the specific story of love your job. I wake up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I start my day with bells and whistles on, and I'm always smiling because I absolutely love what I do. Like, no one would work as much as I do if they didn't love their job.
Yeah.
Period, the end. Like, I would be miserable if I'd be a miserable person. So, like, I want to work that much. I go to bed thinking about waking up and eating peanut butter and working. Like, literally, like, those are the two things I think about. And then, as I'm working, I'm thinking about my son and my wife. Like, those are the only two, like, those are the things I love most right now. And it's just, like, so that's love my job. A story about a specific story about be human. Specific story about be human. Okay, so this is interesting. RG people understand that every colleague, client, partner, and supplier is another human being with their own hopes, fears, likes, and dislikes. They understand that everyone has a career and personal life to juggle. They empathize and understand that each person needs to be happy and successful. They connect on a deeply human level, building resilient, balanced, long-term relationships. So, I think that we as Reward Gateway, we have partners and we have vendors that we invest in, right? And I think that one of the things that is an interesting dynamic is this might not be the story we want to use, but once you start paying people money, you then we pay a vendor, right? All of a sudden, you then feel as though you can be late to respond. You can like, you have like a power in that relationship, which is totally bizarre. And that person actually becomes a customer of ours. So like the number one thing that I do when I work with an outside supplier, an events person, somebody who's a media partner, I always ask them like, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Because I know that if I understand that person's goals, that then probably relates to like their whole life. Like, are you going to be going on vacation soon? Like, I really try to deeply understand that, because then I create by being human, by really trying to understand that, I can create this unique relationship with that supplier and with that vendor. And then all of a sudden, that person feels just as much part of our team as anybody else at that company, and they're willing to champion our mission. Number of times that we get our suppliers and our vendors and our partners who want to come work for Reward Gateway is very high, particularly within the marketing team. And I think that's because we treat them like, it's because we're human. We care about their goals. We care about them just as much as we care about what they're doing for us.
Right.
Which I think is a really, really interesting dynamic. And it's a good example. It's outside the company, but it's a good example of a value that can really help you. If you empathize with another individual, they'll actually help extend our mission. Work hard would be the website launch example. I think as a leader, the thing that can undermine your credibility with your team the most is when they feel as though you make decisions and then have everybody else execute and you don't do anything. And I think during the website launch, I think what helped build my credibility so much with the rest of our team, and quite frankly the rest of the company, is I was literally like, I was like flowing content into pages. I was creating workflows. I was loading images. Like I was doing the work and I was staying up all night doing it. Yeah. Because it had to get done, and it wasn't like, oh, like I'm this new like SVP of marketing guy. Like I was gonna get stuck in. I think that actually laid the foundation for a lot of trust among the team with me, that they knew that I would always be willing to roll up my sleeves and get my hands dirty to help them, because I would never expect them to be doing the work without me doing it with them, either side.
So was that the first big project that you and Chloe worked on together?
Yeah, it was definitely a full team effort. It wasn't the first. We first did, we had the messaging framework. There were a lot of like smaller ones, but that was like the biggest project in the first 6 months. Like, yeah. It was like I joined, and the moment I joined, it was like, we're overhauling the website, we're rewriting the messaging framework, we're re-architecting our marketing automation systems. Like we're hauling everything.
Nice.
And the whole team looked at me like, you're crazy, we're never going to be able to get that done. Like, how are we going to get all this work done? And it was like, well, we're all going to work really freaking hard. And I just wanted to exemplify what I thought hard work looked like. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to show them, like, this is what I believe hard work looks like. So in order for me to do that, I had to like literally get my computer out and sit next to them and do the work with everybody, because I wanted to set the pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think Own It, so Own It is a story about, like, Own It, and actually I could tell you a failed story. So with Own It, it's an interesting combination of be human and own it. So one of our sales leaders pushed really hard on us building an ROI tool. Mm-hmm. And I knew we could do it, and I knew like the ROI tool was going to be great, and it still is going to be great. We're going to develop it. It's going to be awesome. It's almost there. So I was human. Like, I empathized. I listened to like what their challenges were, what their goals were, and like what they needed to get done. And I was like, I'm gonna take this on. I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna make it happen. Right. But because I was too human, it made me fail on the own it value.